नंद गोविंद आनंद नारायण 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 नारायण हरि नारायण नारायण हरि नारायण नंद गोविंद आनंद 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 गोविंद आनंद गोविंद आनंद नारायण नंद 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 गोविंद आनंद नारायण आजानुबाहुम् अरविन्दनेत्रम् आजानुबाहुम् अरविन्दनेत्रम् लोकाभिरामं मनसा स्मरामि लोकाभिरामं मनसा स्मरामि आजानुबाहुम् भूलोक वैकुंठ बद्रीनिवासं बद्रीनिवासं प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि आजानुबाहुं अरविन्दनेत्रं लोकाभिरामं मनसा स्मरामि भूलोक वैकुंठ बद्रीनिवासं बद्रीनिवासं प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि आजानुबाहुं अरविन्दनेत्रं आजानुबाहुं अरविन्दनेत्रं लोकाभिरामं मनसा स्मरामि लोकाभिरामं मनसा स्मरामि भूलोक वैकुंठ बद्रीनिवासं भूलोक वैकुंठ बद्रीनिवासं प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि प्रभु रघुरामं मनसा स्मरामि
ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः. We are in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Which began by answering Arjuna's number of questions and ultimately focused on the last question of Arjuna: how do the yogis depart from this body? Oh Lord, how do they maintain the focus on you even while departing from this body? So Arjuna's question was a very unique question because he did say, Lord Krishna said in the 8th chapter, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tameva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitah. Hey Kaunteya, whatever bhavam, with whatever thought a person departs from this body, that is what he becomes. And therefore, if you remember me while departing from here, well, you come to me. So that way Lord Krishna taught how to become one with Ishvara, at least after departing from this body. Vedanta teaches that you are already Ishvara, therefore you don't have to become one with Ishvara. And therefore by knowing that you are Brahman, you discover that you are one with Ishvara. However, if that knowledge has not taken place, then it is becoming one with Ishvara. So process of knowing and process of becoming. Knowledge, of course, is process of knowing what is. And the yoga that the Lord teaches here is a process of becoming Brahman. Such that at the time after departure, you become one with Brahman. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati sadbhavam yati natyat samshaya. That at the time of departure, if one remembers me, then he becomes one with me. So therefore this chapter is devoted to how can an aspirant or a yogi make sure that he remembers Ishvara even at the time of departure. It cannot be that you just think of him at the time of departure and you will remember him. Because the situation being what it is when a person is departing from his body, so much struggle is going on to hold on to life. that at that time to focus the mind on remembering Ishvara is essentially impossible. And therefore, here Lord Krishna teaches that if you constantly engage your mind in the memory of Ishvara, such that you have now cultivated a mind that it does not depart from Ishvara. Abhyasa yoga yuktena cetasa nanyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthanuchinten. Lord Krishna says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena, endowed by the yoga of abhyasa. Abhyasa means repetition. Repeating, so repeatedly remembering Ishvara. Abhyasa yoga yuktena cetasa na anyagamina. So one has done so much abhyasa, so much practice, that the mind by itself does not go anywhere else, meaning that mind on its own remains with Ishvara. So that much practice is done. Usually the mind has a habit of wandering into the world, into the sense pleasures and stuff like that. To completely turn around or transform that mind into remembrance of Ishvara, cetasa nanyagamina, so that the mind on its own does not go to any other object. Paramam purusham divyam yadi parthanuchintayan. He Partha, this aspirant attains paramam purusham or param brahma, paramatma. So how do we remember Ishvara at this last moment? For that, Lord Krishna says that tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhya cha. Therefore, sarveshu kaleshu. In the 7th verse we are told that since whatever is the last thought that determines the destination of this person departing from the body, tasmat, therefore, in order that I become the object of a memory, that your mind remembers me, and that may happen when it has become a habit of the mind to remember. At the time of departure, it is not possible for us to deliberately do something. Things that happen on their own, just as for a dream, for example, even though we may write on our pillow cover sweet dreams, there is no guarantee the dreams will be sweet, because we do not determine what the thought will be at the time of dream. If we could determine, then we would love dream more than waking, perhaps. If we could decide what the dream experience would be, then maybe there may be people who would love to have that experience rather than all this waking stuff. But we do not have the freedom to determine what the dream will be. Whatever thought occurs at that time determines what the dream will be. And whatever we have thought during the day or during the waking state, of that, what is the most prominent thought is most likely to be the cause of dream. So just as in dream we do not have the freedom to decide what the dream will be, so also at the time of death we do not have freedom to decide what the last thought will be. Although with all the great good intentions, the relatives around, they keep repeating Narayana, 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 hoping that this fellow hears that. And that departing person also remembers that. Because the story is very famous of how this Ajamila remembered Narayana, Narayana. Even though Narayana was the name of his son. He was so much attached to his son that at the time of death he was saying Narayana, Narayana, Narayana. Because his greatest attachment was to his son, therefore he was only calling him. And here the Yamadutas had already come because this was the papi, he was a sinner. And therefore the messengers of Yamaraja had already come. But when he said Narayana, 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 all of a sudden the Dutas, all the messengers of Lord Narayana came. He said, hey, we have to take him, not you. This is the story as to how by remembering Narayana at the time of death, this person got liberated. And therefore, remembering Ishvara's name at the time of death is extremely important, is very highly valued in the Vedic culture. And that's what Lord Krishna also said. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tamevaidi kaunteya sada tad bhavavitah. Yam yam bhavam smaran, whatever bhava, whatever thought, remembering, whatever thought a person departs from here, that's what he becomes. How do you do that? So Lord Krishna said in the verse 7, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. Sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara, that way Arjuna, sarveshu kaleshu, at all the times. The word kala means time. And time is, that word is placed here in plural. What is times? There cannot be plural of word time. But sarveshu kaleshu, meaning that all the times, meaning in all circumstances. Whether you are pure, there are some debates going on whether can you recite Bhagavan's name before you've taken bath and stuff like that. Bhagavan's name you can recite at any time. Sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara, remember me. And Yudhyacha, so Arjuna says, thank you Lord. According to your instruction now I give up everything and retire and remember your name. Says, no, Yudhyacha. In your case you should also perform your duty. So perform your duty, remember me while performing the duty, while doing anything. So how to do that, that is what Lord Krishna is teaching. Let us again read the verse number 8. Abhyasa yoga yuktena Chetasananyagamina Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati Parthanuchintayan. Abhyasa yoga yuktena endowed with the yoga of abhyasa, repeating Bhagavan's name, chetasa nanyagamina, so that repeating the name has become now so intense that the mind on its own does not go to any other subject. The mind itself has developed a love. So that is the purpose of remembering the name. Not just repeating Ram, 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 that is good. But if that repetition of name happens with bhakti or with devotion, meaning that we should discover devotion for the Devata whose name we are repeating. As best as possible, repeat your name or mantra with devotion. Because devotion or bhakti is like a glue that attaches our mind with the Devata or with Ishvara whose name we are reciting. So even though Lord Krishna here doesn't say Bhaktya, just says keep repeating my name, but we should add this. We mention bhakti or devotion or love because you enjoy repeating name or remembering someone whom you love. Just remembrance doesn't always cause happiness. But remembering someone whom you love also makes you happy. That's what we should understand here when Lord Krishna teaches here to remember him all the time. Is not just mechanically remember him, which also is better than not remembering him. But hopefully that mechanical remembrance would turn into remembrance with devotion. Because then it becomes effective. Meaning that not only speech and the intellect are involved, but the heart also is involved. It is only then that the mind will incent you to remember that name. The mind is always seeking pleasure. So we can prompt our mind to remember something as long as, and then it will go away into some other object. What's the reason why the mind distracts from one thing to the other, that we find it difficult to concentrate? The same child who complains that I can't remember my geography and my trigonometry and stuff like that, ask him the scores of all baseball games, all whatever, the players and the athletes and, film stars. He has all the statistics in the tip of his tongue. So not that he cannot remember. He can very well remember something that he loves. And that goes with everybody. Meaning that in order that we remember Bhagavan's name, Ishvara's name, we also should cultivate, even though it is not stated here specifically, it must be done with devotion, with bhakti. But Swamiji, how to discover bhakti? I am repeating Lord Krishna's name, how to discover bhakti? So, fortunately for us, for every devata, there is a Puranam. For the Lord Krishna, there is Bhagavad Puranam. For Lord Vishnu, there is Vishnu Puranam. For every devata, what is the Puranam? Puranam is that which sings the glories of that devata. And what is the purpose of singing those glories? To create devotion for that devata. Therefore, the purpose of every Purana is to create the bhakti or devotion for that devata. Mahatma jnana purvastu sudruha sarvatodhikaha sneha bhakti iti khyata. The sneha is called bhakti. That liking, the attachment is called bhakti, which is a result of listening to the glories of the Lord. Our mind starts respecting and slowly appreciating and slowly revering that which is glorious. And therefore, the scriptures prescribe that we should listen to the glories of the Lord. Mahatma jnana purvastu sarvatah sudruha sarvatodhika. Listen to the glories of the Lord, then slowly and slowly the affection and love will arise. So when Lord Krishna says, Sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara, at all the time remember me, we presume that the remembrance is with bhakti, Not just mechanical remembrance, because that would take a long time. Abhyasa, it is bhakti or the devotion that the mind enjoys something that it loves, thinks of with devotion. Mind enjoys the object of love. If Bhagavan, whose name you are remembering, becomes the object of love, mind will enjoy that. Abhyasaya yuktena chetasa nanyagamina. And thus repeating Bhagavan, his name or his form, with a mind that is centered upon that itself does not go anywhere. Meaning the mind is happy to remember. And therefore mind has no incentive to go anywhere. Because mind is like a bee, it goes from one to the other thing, and wherever it finds something sweet, it flies there. But just as a honeybee only gets stuck to the honey, so the mind will get stuck to this if it has discovered a joy. In the 9th verse, Lord Krishna describes what is the nature of Ishvara that you should remember. So let us read the verse number 9. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Anoraniyam Samanusmaredyah Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastad. At the end of the first line said, Anusmaredyaha, ya anusmared. One who remembers, anusmared, remembers, meditates basically. Kavim, here Kavihi, Krantadarshi, Sarvajnaha, description of Ishvara. Kavi, he is Sarvajnaha, omniscient, all-knowing. Puranam, ancient, because he is there before the creation also, he is there after the creation also. Puranam, most ancient. There are ancient things in the creation also, with carbon dating, and they are discovering things which are millions of years, old. But nothing is as old as Bhagavan, because he existed even before the universe or creation was. So Puranam, most ancient, ageless. Anushasitaram, Anushasita, one who is a ruler of everything. So Bhagavan is the ruler. See, all these attributes are sort of superimposed upon Bhagavan by us. We call him the ruler. Why do we call him? Because we see everything in the universe being ruled. Everything functions in a very disciplined manner. There is no freedom or there is for anybody to violate the law or the harmony. Thus the whole universe is ruled, and therefore we say Bhagavan is a ruler. If you ask him, hey, you are ruling, I am not doing anything. From our standpoint, the Bhagavan is the ruler, but the secret of ruling of the Bhagavan is he rules without ruling. Is it possible? Can you rule without ruling? It's possible. In the family, maybe the head of the family is so much respected, so much revered, so much loved, then the rest of the members do what he likes to do without even his telling, When you love somebody and respect somebody, then you want to please that one and therefore you do what that person likes even without being told. So also imagine that the whole universe is held together, you can say, in the code of harmony or love, such that everything functions without any will on the part of Ishvara. Our Ishvara, although we show Bhagavan as wielding so many weapons, Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma, etc., so many weapons is wielding. That is to show that he is omnipotent, all-powerful. But then Bhagavan does not, and then even Upanishad also has a description that he is like raised a thunderbolt. And so just as a master who has a raised, danda, stick, how the servants function, obediently, so the whole universe functions obediently. Ishvara is as though with a thunderbolt raised in his hand. He will get tired if he just raise his hand. To keep everybody under control, how long can even Bhagavan raise his hand? Although it is shown like this, Lord Krishna is shown. There is a temple in Nathadwar where Lord Krishna is shown in this position, where he is lifting the Mount Govardhan in the little finger of his left hand. But if Bhagavan has to really raise his hand, how long even he can do that? Meaning that all this is done without any effort, otherwise even Bhagavan also will get tired. It is merely by presence of Ishvara that everything happens. Everything functions as though like they're obedient servants. Anusasitaram, the one who is a ruler. Anoho, aniyam, some one who is subtler than the subtlest, because there is no dimension. All pervasive. Sarvasya dhataram, one who dispenses of the results of action to all the living beings. So whatever karma is performed by anybody, Ishvara is the karma phaladata, the dispenser of the result of the action, and the sarvasya dhataram, he dispenses of the result of the karma to all the beings. Achintya rupam, of the form that is unthinkable. Aditya varnam, self-effulgent like the sun. Tamasah parastad, beyond the darkness of ignorance. So this is the Lord presented here as the object of meditation. Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasananyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati parthana. This is parama purusham divyam, and this is what the yogi attains because he has meditated upon this for the whole of his life, and after departure he attains that. Now what is the end time of the yogi? The verse number 10 describes that. Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva pravor madhye pranamaveshya samyaka satam param purusham upaiti divyam. Prayana kale, marana kale, at the time of death. Manasa achalena prachalana varjitena, the mind that is achalam, that is steady, free from all unsteadiness. Remember all these at the time of death. At the time of death, to control a mind like this is possible only when this is what he has done throughout his life. We cannot expect that time of death the mind all of a sudden becomes obedient to you and does what you want it to do. The mind has been made obedient by long practice throughout the life. Manasa achalena bhaktya yuktaha. First time Lord Krishna mentions bhaktya yuktaha, endowed with devotion. So we presume that this was intended in the earlier verses also. Here Lord Krishna, at the end when we say, he says that endowed with devotion, that means that he must be endowed with devotion throughout his life also, because it's not the devotion arises all of a sudden. That's why he said that bhaktya yuktena, endowed with devotion, is a very important thing. For the japa, for remembrance, for meditation also. For any kind of meditation, mental worship or japa repetition, bhakti or devotion is important. Meaning that we should make a conscious effort to discover the devotion for the Devata or the Lord whom we are seeking to worship. Bhaktya yuktaha. And so, one is endowed with deep love. The translation is endowed with deep love, which means this is what he has been doing for the whole of his life. Yoga balena chaiva. He has also gained the balam or the strength of the yoga. Yoga means concentration. Here yoga means in fact absorption of samadhi. That this yogi has been meditating such that his mind is absorbed, and thus he has practiced this yoga of samadhi for a long time such that it also remains at the time of death. Yoga balena. So, yogasya balam, yoga balam, samadhiya samskara prachalaya varjitena. So yoga here means samadhi or absorption. That means that the yogi has practiced absorption of his mind for a long time such that that absorption remains even at the time of death. Arjuna's question is, how does the yogi remember you? By a practice, lifetime practice of absorbing the mind in Ishvara. Samadhija samskara prachaya janita chit. So, prachaya janita chit sthairya lakshanam yoga balam. Bhashyakara explains, yoga balam, the strength of yoga, prachaya janita chitta sthairya, the steadiness of the mind, which is a result of the prachaya, the increase in samadhiya samskara. The constant practice of absorption of the mind, that it becomes so strong that now, under the influence of that samskara, the mind itself now does not waver from its object of meditation. And this is at the time of death. At the time of death, no effort is possible, which means that this should happen by itself. And that can happen provided this has been done throughout the life with effort. So he's made effort throughout the life such that his mind is trained. And nature of mind has been completely transformed. And mind usually which is unsteady, that mind as nature has become completely steady. Although ideally this is the nature of mind. Ideally mind by nature is sattvic. That is what Vedanta teaches, that the mind is the product of sattva guna, of all the 5 elements. And sattvic means it is pure. That means it is pleasant, cheerful. That means it is steady. But then unfortunately a lot of rajas and tamas, ragadveshas have made their way into the mind. Because somehow inadvertently we allow the ragadveshas to enter the mind and take hold of the mind. Otherwise, the nature of mind is sattvic, is steady. Meaning that one who has completely driven out all the ragadveshas, all impurities from his mind, who has made the mind sattvic. How do you do that? For that, Lord Krishna has taught Karma Yoga. What is Karma Yoga? Yoga means attitude. Karma Yoga means performing karma, the duties, with the right attitude. In simple words, in words of Pujya Swamiji, very often we have a choice between what is right and what I like and what is right. Sometimes what I like is different from what is right. Every day they serve me food which is very tempting. And I know what the doctor has told me, what my stomach condition is, what I should be eating, I should not be eating. But the temptation is so strong that I overlook all those. What is right is overlooked because of temptation of what I like. Thus there are temptations in us. And therefore we are often tempted to do what we like even though we know that it is not right. So yoga means just doing what is right and overcoming the mind's tendency of what you like. You know what will happen? In course of time, the mind will become free from the pressure of doing what it likes. The pressure inside. There is something that, compels me to do something, what I like. That compulsion slowly and slowly, by deliberately doing what is right, I progressively overcome that compulsion of doing what I like. So this is how we have to train our mind with deliberate effort. It will not happen automatically. So before doing this yoga of remembering the Lord, there was a yoga of performing duty while practicing. What are you practicing while performing duty? Do what is right. Even though there may be temptation to violate what is right and do what you like. So that is how the control of mind is practiced even in the time of Karma Yoga. And therefore the yogi is able to focus the mind on the object of meditation. That is why Lord Krishna teaches meditation after Karma Yoga. Meditation is the subject matter of the 6th chapter. And from chapter 2 to chapter 5, Lord Krishna teaches Karma Yoga. In fact, the first verse of 6th chapter also describes Karma Yoga. Anashritah karmaphalam karyam karma karodhyah sasannyasi cha yogi cha. So anashritah karmaphalam, without depending upon or expecting the karmaphala, one who performs the duty. So that's how the mind has been trained for a long time. Before the mind is trained for concentration upon the object of meditation, mind has been trained to maintain the right attitude. So while doing all our vyavahara, the training is to focus the mind on right attitude. Focus the mind on right values. That while I am performing my activities, interacting with the world, I make sure that I remain honest. I try to be as transparent as possible, as honest as I can, as sincere as I can. If these attitudes are deliberately practiced, then the mind will listen to what I want, otherwise it won't. That is why Karma Yoga also is a preparation to this Dhyana Yoga. Because in Karma Yoga we practice maintenance of right attitude. Not that we concentrate the mind, but on the attitude is maintained. And that practice ultimately helps us to concentrate mind on a given object of meditation. Bhaktya yukto yoga balena chaiva. By yoga bala, by the bala, the strength of yoga, of concentration of the mind. So what all he has done during the life is now comes to his help at the time of departure. Bhror madhye pranamavesya samyaga. Now further yoga is taught here. Pranam samyak bhror madhye aveshya. The prana means the breath. The breath that may have its origin, let us say, in the stomach region, that prana is slowly controlled such that through these nadis, etc., that it is concentrated in here in Brahmananda. This is what the yogi has done. There are these three Ida, Pingala, Sushumna Nadi, so that Nadi, Sushumna. He has attained that ability to have his prana, the vital energy, flow through Sushumna Nadi and focus here on the Brahmarandra, crown of the head. Or here in this case, Bhror Madhye, between the eyebrows. Bhror Madhye Pranamavesha Samyaga. Very well, making the prana enter, focus in the plane of place between the two eyebrows. Satam param purushamapai divyam. And then he remembers Bhagavan, and Lord Krishna says, this one attains the union. He merges into the Paramapurusha. This is not knowledge, but this is merging the Jiva into Ishvara. So, Satam Param Purusham Upayati Divyam. Divyam, the divine Purusha, he upayati, he attains. So now in the next verse 11, Lord Krishna tells us about a simpler method, or what to do. Now Lord Krishna says, remember me all the time. For remembrance or memory, we need some prop. Some alambanam is required. See, this is the uniqueness of the Vedic culture, by the way. That we are given the props or alambanam for focusing attention on the Lord. This Murti Puja that we have, so Murti also is an alambanam, with the help of which we can pray to the Lord, meditate upon the Lord. Because the Vedic culture recognizes that it is difficult for the human mind to all of a sudden climb and remember Lord without all attributes, the Nirgun, Nirvikara, Bhagavan, Brahman. For other traditions, the Ishvara is Nirakara. Nirakara, Saguna Nirakara. Saguna means possessed of virtues, but Nirakara. So there Bhagavan has no akara at all. He is of course omniscient, omnipotent, etc. and he is compassionate, he is loving. So these virtues are there. But there is no akara. So we would call it Saguna Nirakara. There is Nirguna Nirakara, Saguna Nirakara, Saguna Sakara. Saguna means possessed of guna or virtues, as akara possessed of the form. So when we have a vigraha in front of us, it is saguna and sakara. meaning possessed of the virtues as well as the form. So all our devata, the form, and therefore depending upon who your Ishta Devata is, there is a form given to us for worship. Our Swami used to say that this is the result of the centuries of things, because in those days, when this discussion was going 50 years ago, when you think of soap, what name comes? Lux will come to your mind. I don't know whether Lux comes to your mind right now or not, but those days in India, soap means Lux. So people don't say when they go to shop, give me soap, they give me Lux. So that is the result of the marketing. So also by the result, that when you think of Lord, automatically Ganesha comes in your mind. Or Lord Shiva comes into the mind, or Lord Vishnu comes into your mind because of a long practice. Meaning that this culture has done this to help us, that we are associating a given name and form with a given deity. And unfortunately, other people ridicule this. This Hindu practice of worshipping Ishvara in a murti with name and form is ridiculed, and so our children have a lot of problem when they go to school. Because you have an elephant-headed god and then this monkey-headed god and stuff like that. Poor our child doesn't know. Feels very ashamed sometimes, although they don't want to talk about Hinduism. Very ridiculous dharma. What kind of gods you have? Elephant-headed god? Monkey god? You worship cow? I say we worship all animals. Why cow? See, when you worship the deity, every deity has its own vehicle. You know that? So Lord Ganesha always comes with a mouse. And Lord Subramanya comes with a peacock. Devi Saraswati comes with a swan. Lord Vishnu comes with an eagle. So when Lord Vishnu is worshipped, eagle is worshipped automatically, is it not so? I mean, when you that little mouse is always there, with Lord Ganesha, whether you can see or not, but in one corner that fellow is there munching upon a modaka. So worship to Ganesha automatically goes to that little mouse. So vehicle is always included with the Lord. So not only I say we worship all animals, because various animals are the vehicles. It's amazing, this culture. Somebody says, how can this little mouse, how can it carry the weight of Ganesha? That question also did not occur to me, or I could not have answered that until I heard from one Kathakara. See, there are so many kind of powers or siddhis. Anima, Mahima, Garima, Laghima. The yogi can become heavy, a yogi can become light also. Can become, so this is a siddhi that Lord Ganesha becomes light when he rides on his vehicle. How can Ganesha ride on a mouse? When Ganesha uses siddhi of becoming light, then mouse also can carry it. So this is how I said we worship all animals, not only cow. Because an animal is always involved as a vehicle with every devata. Including the Ganges, what is it? Crocodile and stuff like that, And all these wild animals like lions and tigers, all of them included. Snakes and elephants. What is not included? Cobras, snakes, they are all included. You worship them and you worship Lord Shiva. more we understand the beauty of this culture. The problem with us is that we know so little about our own culture. And very often there is so much misinformation also, that people are very apologetic about being Hindus. But children also try to avoid being branded Hindus, and they are not comfortable because of lack of proper education. Otherwise, there is no culture as beautiful as this, which gives such a vast variety of choices. I used to say, like we have only one God, you have so many gods. He said, we go to buffet, then how many dishes are there? Just one. In your buffet you only have khichdi. In our buffet we have so many dishes. But, so this is that worshipping forms, murti. Idol is a technical word, right? It's an idol. But this idolatry and stuff like that are so much talked about and humiliated, and therefore idol is the wrong word to use, otherwise it's the right word. But because people have used that word to ridicule, therefore we use murti puja. And we should have no shame or hesitation in accepting that, yes, we are worshipping murtis. You are all idol worshippers. And we are worshipping murtis. We have no problem. Because as our Puja Swami would say, we accept what is the Ishvara. Ishvara is not only the, for other people, Ishvara is merely creator or maker. For us, he is both maker as well as material. He is not only the creator of the universe, he is a very material cause, however, he is the universe himself. So what is Ishvara? And therefore, we can invoke Ishvara in anything. And then we can worship Ishvara. So, in those days, Swami used to say, you know, when you're traveling on the roads in India, there are these milestones, you know? Milestones? You know how a milestone look like? Hemispherical on the top. So you can invoke Lord Shiva in a milestone also. After all, if you have practice of worshipping Lord Shiva every morning and you are on the road, do that. So a lot of flexibility is there. Anyway, so this is how, but we need what we call a prop or alambanam. A time may come that you may be able to remember Ishvara without alambanam. And it is likely that somebody is born with those samskaras of the past that he doesn't require it. But most human beings require alambanam or a prop. Because the mind is accustomed to think in the realm of names and forms, and therefore a name and form is given to us. And a variety of them are given to us according to our choice, such that a day comes when we become free from the need of the name and form. Not that you let it go, you become free, you grow out of that. So here we imagine a yogi who has gone through all of this and ultimately has developed the ability to be one with. So yoga balena chaiva, yoga there means the bala, the absorption in the Ishtadevata. Pror madhye pranamavishramyak satam param purusham upaiti divyam. So for meditating upon Ishvara, as you say, nowadays we have various names and the symbols available. Like Rama, Krishna, Shiva, all the various names. And various murtis may be like the symbols. In the Vedic times there were no murtis, by the way. Murti puja has not yet come into being at the time of Vedas. It came in the time of Puranas. So what was then the alambana which was preached or taught by the teachers? So this is what Lord Krishna introduced in the next verse. We'll just read that verse here, verse 11. Yadaksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yadyatayo vitaraga yadichanto brahmacharyam charante tatte padam sangrahena pravakshye. Almost restatement of a mantra of the Kathopanishad with a slight change. Yadaksharam veda vido vadanti vishanti yad yatayo vitaragaha yadichanto brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam. That pada I will tell you. Sangrahan, and in brief I will tell you that padam. Padam also means the abode. Here padam means abode, or padam also means the name I will tell you with which to meditate. Sangrahena pravakshe, that Brahman, which is the object of meditation, I will tell you briefly by his name. So this is how Lord Krishna introduces here the meditation with the help of the word Omkara. Now we will continue the next class with a break. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.